interesting that I'd mention Adam, because the other day I was watching the Daily Woo, and he said something about the Fairmont, but they were on Fairmont Avenue Road Drive or something like that. I was like, that was a Fairmont of something, and I was just talking about Fairmont, but I know it's coincidence because I heard he doesn't watch YouTube. But I mean, man, I don't know, Florida, it's a lot. It's a possibility, and if we got out there, we might butt heads. I mean, not physically, hopefully not, but I might check out the Adam the Woo or the Daily Woo show if he's still doing it, one or the other, because he has both channels. But it's amazing how all his companions, because he has kind of like a cast of characters, do so very well. Even the new ones, you know, like Chris the Girl, who's doing much better, and Tampa J, and all these other guys. I think Tampa was out in Temple, Texas, or around that area, vlogging the Waco site, which is where the compound was, on like Double E Ranch, I think is what they call it. Double E Ranch is where the Waco thing, where Showtime went down. The call word for ATF and everybody that day was called Showtime. But that's where they got David Koresh, and they shot him. To the side. Just like they pierced Jesus. That's a coincidence too. But he prophesized it. I can see why Tampa would be upset, because David Koresh was a nut. And I can see Tampa J being upset, not saying his name. It's an interesting thing, because the guy that shot John Lennon was called the man with no name, Mark David Chapman. I tried to write a play about him. I was going to. And then later on, they turned the same title of the play that I was going to write, which was called Chapter 27, the idea for my play. They turned it into a movie with Jared Leto. A pretty good movie. Jared Leto ate soy sauce and ice cream to gain a lot of weight for it. This is the rumor. But going back to Tampa J, went off on a tangent. It's interesting that you go out, that Waco becomes a vlog spot, but I don't know for sure if I'm going to do it. There's enough information on Wikipedia, Encyclopedia, to go out there and point the camera at the field where the compound was, where 25 children burned or more, and all these people died, and it was a horrible, horrible thing, all because one guy said he was like Jesus, and that he did all these things that we have no proof of, you know, no real proof that he did the horrible things that he supposedly did. Maybe he did. Should he have burned, and should his children and his family burn because he was abusive and an alpha male and kind of arrogant? Should they have all burned? No. Should he have gave up? Yeah, he should have gave up. Was he selling guns illegally, or at least selling assault rifles illegally? Yeah. Should he have done that? No, he shouldn't have done that. So there's a lot of things he shouldn't have done. He did try out to go off and be a rock star, though. He actually really tried to do that. But then one day he woke up and he realized, wow, I think I'm part of all this prophecy. And then he started preaching it and joined a group which was called the Branch Davidians. I think he joined them. They were already around, and they're still around today. They still have a compound. They still have the things that he had, and they still have the same beliefs that he had. He just got very unlucky, and he lived in a compound with a lot of guns. You know, that's a weird thing. Well, you know, what was he waiting on? You know, he was waiting on something. But he had 25 children, you know. I think they should have de-escalated the whole situation and left him alone. After all, the guy used to jog around every day, played guitar. He was a pretty good guy, you know. But the government sometimes makes mistakes. Vietnam was a mistake. Waco was a mistake. They didn't have to go about the militant way they did. you know. Tampa would understand it if he was mature enough at the time when it happened. I was pretty much almost a grown man when that went down in the early 90s. I was just leaving my teenage years. He still probably understands it, but he talked about it. I only watched the first segment of it. But when he said, oh, I can't say his name, I don't know if he says his name later. I changed it because I was like, well, you know, you need to say his name because it's in the history books. You need to say his name because he's remembered as David Koresh, and all the survivors remember who he is. You need to say his name because it's printed on the plaques. You know, it's still around, even though he was probably a little like you. So, you know, you don't have to, though. If I didn't want to say Mickey Mouse's name, I wouldn't say Mickey Mouse's name. If I didn't want to, you know. I probably wouldn't. But anyway, he didn't survive it. Oh, Tampa J did. I'm talking about David Koresh. He didn't survive it. He lost. But I personally have my own beliefs about the situation. I don't think he should have burned to death. I don't think those little innocent children should have burned. And I think the government was wrong for doing what they did. And I'll be open about that. Those people burned to death because of their militant behavior. And they got a wake-up call. There's a wake-up call going on. Now we have a president that has criminal charges. Wake-up call. January 6th, people broke into the Capitol and kicked in the doors and hurt, and many police officers lost, well, not, it's like, I think 6 police officers were badly injured, almost to death, and I think a few of them lost their lives because of suicide. Wake-up call. 9/11, 3,000 people burned to death because a plane hit the World Trade Center, supposedly run by terrorists. Wake-up call. Then the Oklahoma bombing happened because of a guy named Timothy McVeigh, which happened to be at the Waco compound. Wake-up call. Wake-up call. We have all these wake-up calls. That's my thing. Theirs was showtime. Mine is wake-up call. It's out of my hands. Okay? It's out of my hands. It's out of my hands because you've got the wake-up call. When's the next wake-up call? That's why I don't live in New York City. They say the safest place in the world is to live right over there by the One World Trade. And it may be the safest place. But because of the wake-up call I got that morning when I was on, I think it was East 21st. It was 38 East 21st Street between Park Avenue and Broadway. I got my wake-up call, so I learned my lesson. I'm going to eat my tacos. Good vlog. Look at that guy over there. He's a loser because he's eating a taco. Well, what is he supposed to do? If he goes too long without eating tacos, then he dies of malnutrition. True. So he's not really a loser. He's eating a taco. I know a lot of times people do this to get a rise. It's kind of like wrestling. Ever watch WWE or WWF? It's like the same thing almost. It's like, wow, he's eating a foot-long hot dog. He's riding a ride at Walt Disney World at the same time. No one's done that yet. I'd like to see that one. A foot-long taco and riding to Walt Disney World. Those long tacos. What about a foot-long hot dog and then ride like a Disney World ride at the same time? Probably get in trouble for that. I probably wouldn't like that very much. Gotta show the brand. I'm not trashing the show. I think it's pretty good. Although I'm a bigger fan of Adam the Woo, though. His show's really good. Probably because his father was a minister and he taught him to be kind to other people. That's powerful when you're kind. But I do like y'all's show. I just, something happened, just, no, I don't know. I'm not going to try to direct. But something like that, I think, you're in Waco, you're in Texas, it happened to David Koresh. Just say his name so we can remember. It's in the history books. It'll be taught to kids. It's in Frontline episodes. It's in, it's all over everything. But I'm not going to say his name Not gonna say his name. I will not say his name. David Koresh. There, I said it. Said it for you. I'll go back and watch the vlog later, maybe. I was so watching Escape the Mouse. Escaping the Mouse. Watch that guy. He's more genius than all of you, by the way. Escaping the Mouse, he did a vlog on it, and he's better than all of you vloggers, other than Adam. Adam's probably about at his level. You know, I want to go back about Showtime and the Waco siege. The FBI and the ATF used a call. You know what a call is? It's when you get on the CB and you go and you say a secret message, okay? And their secret message to attack the Waco compound was Showtime, okay? Which is a little arrogant, but if the media were to get a hold of that call time, which we have, I'm talking about it right now, okay? I'm not exactly media, but I am YouTube. You get news on YouTube. If they got a hold of that and tried to explain what it was, they would use the word Showtime. Just like if they called it Cinemax. Which they didn't call it Cinemax. That would have been really weird, you know. All right, ready? Cinemax. You know, that would have been even crazier. Because they think like Hollywood. Sadly enough. You know, if police officers sit around watching cop dramas all day, hey, that's fine. I sit around and I watch movies about actors a lot. And I like actors, and I'm an actor. I'm an actor. Okay, let's get that correct. I went to the Actor Studio Drama School in New York City, in Manhattan. Now, it did happen during 9/11, September 11th, 2001. It was tragedy. All our students there were upset. We had meetings about it with Bob Kerrey, who is he's a political figure. He's John Kerry's brother. He has one leg. He survived Vietnam. We had a meeting with Bob Kerrey. We sat down and listened to Bob Kerrey, this political official, talk about September 11th of 2001, the Black Tuesday. He talked about it as it was happening right then. We could smell the smoke. Okay? I'm an actor. If anyone in this world is an actor, it's Cole Spivey. I have the legit ID from the New School University. It's where Marlon Brando went, James Dean, Robert Duvall went there, okay? A lot of people went there. Now, I'm privileged to be able to go, and I'm privileged to be part of that school and to be part of the actor studio. I am privileged. I'm a privileged actor. That's why I'm doing this show and why I'm about to go pick up some food at Hooters and drop it off at your doorstep. I gotta make sure I get this GPS. But I am, just like Paniculus the Sponge in Minecme, who comes out and talks to the audience. He was a sponge. He wasn't a real sponge. He was a clown. He was known as Paniculus. I played him in college. I played Arlecchino, who also was an actor. I played some famous actors. Arlecchino was the lead guy in all the Commedia dell'arte stuff, like Three Cuckolds. I know you haven't heard of it, but I played that actor, Arlecchino. Arlecchino, look what we have found. Move your scrawny little centipede. I can quote Hamlet. Okay. So I experienced this revolution that's gone on. So anyway, going back to Showtime. I can do that. A lot of other people would forget about the Showtime thing. They taught me this stuff. They taught me, that's a Trinity River, to be better than you. Which I am, but people don't know it yet. That's Paniculus stuff. Paniculus was about himself. Me, I'm Paniculus, and it's funny. It's a type of comedy. I gotta go for a minute. I gotta find out on this little thing, which is GPS, I gotta find out where Hooters is. Trust me, if you want to get into the acting field, I will butt heads with you any day. Because when they get a hold of the Please Subscribe show, Cole Spivey and Linda Spivey, and the Cole and Linda Filmmaker Band, they're going to be pretty impressed. It's going to be a pretty impressive thing. It's going to be a good moment. But I won't take all your subscribers, not all of them, and all your views. But I'll certainly try. Well, it looks like we're going to have to U-turn. But we're going to pick up this Hooters and drop it off at your doorstep. I don't ever really film Hooters because of personal reasons. But I am going to pick it up and drop off the bag at your doorstep. So that's the next part you'll be seeing. I got to do a U-turn here pretty soon. Well, since I've told you about my acting, it's kind of like a resume. I wanted to do like a little thank you call to all my teachers. Starting with many of my acting teachers. Now, my first kind of official acting teacher was a dancer, and he was very flamboyant. His name is John David Templin. Thank you. Another acting teacher that I had was Jerry Russell. Now, Jerry Russell's passed away. Rest in peace. Jerry was very extroverted, smiling all the time. He loved cigarettes and drinking wine all the time, and he sang. Jerry was a genius teacher, and he opened Stage West, which is still flourishing here in Fort Worth. Great. Go see their plays. It's great. They got a plaque on the wall for Jerry Russell. I'll do a vlog about it if Dana lets me. Dana runs it, Dana Schultez. She's kind of an acting teacher a little bit, but she was more of a friend. She was a colleague. She went to Wesleyan with me. Also, I'd like to thank Connie Lambert. I'm getting that right. She was the film acting teacher I had. Connie Witt Lambert. Sorry, now we're in business. Connie Witt Lambert, playwright, teacher, big time playwright teacher. And she was my director, many plays, or at least a couple of them. Well, 2 or 3. She directed me in Menechme and in North Pole Nightmare. Thank you. Joe Brown, my first dean, and he's a teacher too, but he mostly watched over us. And he is a good guy. Thank you, Joe. Papa Joe is what we call him. That's our call thing for Papa Joe. Always want to thank him. And I got to hurry up because I'm getting to this really good shot coming up. Ken Stilson for being a good Udahagen teacher. He taught me and directed me in Streetcar. Very great. Marjorie Hayes, I think she's a professor of mine. She taught me all about Grotowski and European style theater, and then taught me Shakespeare. Thank you, Marjorie, for the Shakespeare training. And for directing. She taught me directing. I'm gonna stop from right there. Also, James Lipton, thank you, James Lipton, and all the movie stars that helped me too, especially Diane Salinger, who played Simone. I gotta get this really quick. Sorry, I had to turn it around. I like this little thing right here. Yeah, Diane Salinger's great studio acting teacher. She studied with Stella Adler. She played Simone in Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. If you ever seen Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure? That was my teacher when I was in Hollywood. She got me into the actor studio, which I went northeast to New York City. And that's where I hung out with James Lipton. I did sit right beside James Lipton when he edited the Bravo's network inside the actor studio. He brought me to Beetlejuice. It's a studio in New York. Some call it Beetle Guys. I call it Beetlejuice. Anyway, it's spelled just like the star in the sky in the constellation. Thank you, James Lipton. He's passed away. Some of these people passed away. Rest in peace, James Lipton. Now, who else? All the stars that came through, all the movie stars that came through on the Bravo network inside the actor studio, starting with Bruce Willis, Kevin Costner, Will Smith, Johnny Depp, Ethan Hawke. Who else? I said Kevin Costner, right? Okay. Benicio del Toro, great teacher, especially when it's about scripts and stuff. You got to talk to Benicio about scripts, especially script writing, and also, well, not script writing as much as taking the script and making it your own. He knows how to take the words and make it your own words. That's Benicio. He'll teach you that stuff. He's great. He's a great teacher, Benicio del Toro. Also, one of our best actors too, in my opinion. A few of these names I get. Sissy Spacek's great about talking about David Lynch. Talk to Sissy Spacek about Lynchian stuff. She's great. She's also kind of quiet. Deborah Winger, she's a great teacher about learning to start over and getting, back on your feet. Thank you, Deborah Winger. Didn't get to talk to you, but you were interesting to look at for that 3 or 4 hours. Like to thank, who else was there besides Deborah Winger? Oh, Sir Ian McKellen. He was the last one. Sir Ian McKellen is, don't remember anything of what Sir Ian McKellen said, other than the fact that he talked really cool. Thank you for talking cool, Sir Ian McKellen. we could hear it in reciting Shakespeare. You could listen to his music, of his voice. And we're going to Hooters way down there. It's way down there. I don't want to vlog Hooters. Who else was there? Bruce Willis was very quiet. He's mysterious. Thank you for teaching us about mystery, Bruce Willis. Because the next day, September 11th happened. He also worked with M. Night Shyamalan, who writes about apocalyptic times. I need a turn right here. Thank you, Bruce Willis. And he goes on. I mean, there were so many teachers. They're just so willing to teach. Hugh Grant is his name. He's the one I get stumped on. I missed out on Stalker Channing. I'm sorry, Stalker Channing. I didn't get to see your interview. I was studying for a theater history test, but I heard it was really good. So please allow me to flourish. I got in trouble for it. Lipton sent us all letters saying we never could miss again. I'll forget a few of you. Will Smith is great talking about Robert Redford because he worked with him in Baggard Vance. He's great about talking about like working out for a role because he was doing that for Ali. He talked about eating a certain way that you can eat. You can eat swordfish and broccoli. That's what he ate for Ali. He ate swordfish and he ate broccoli. But he also talked about a lot of stuff about rap music and also memorizing the entire script. He memorizes the entire script. He doesn't just memorize his stuff. He memorizes it all. Everybody else's stuff too. Or at least he did when he played in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He memorized the whole thing. So his mouth would move when the other people were talking. And he learned not to do that. I thank you for that, Will Smith. You listen and don't mimic the other actors and move your mouth when they're saying their lines. That's what Will Smith talked about for real. Because the director had to stop him when he was doing Bel-Air, the Bel-Air thing. Fresh Prince, Bel-Air. I did not have the song memorized like the entire class did. I just listened to everybody, and I did not have that whole rap memorized. Not a lot of them, not even Get Jiggy with it. But anyway, thanks so much for talking to us about rap music and acting. It goes on and on and on. Okay, Samuel Jackson. Thank you for being completely animated and showing us how animated a person can be during an interview, because he was very funny. He just cut up in the interview. He was great. Samuel Jackson was very funny. All over the place, full of energy. Okay, keep on going. It's a lot of thinking to do, a lot of thankful stuff. I know I saw Hooters. That's Chuck E. Cheese. Linda was once part of Chuck E. Cheese. She really was. She was actually Chuck E. Cheese. There was a lot of teachers there. I have to go through that list if I go in order. I'll show you some of my, I'll show you one of my syllabuses. I've done it before. But anyway, we're the weird new school students that have the mic, and we're like, Bruce Willis, would you tell us a little bit about when you were doing Die Hard and you had to do the stunts? Oh, there, I found it. It's over by Town Place. Talk about Die Hard to us. What went on in your head when you were jumping out through a window? And then, Bruce Willis would start talking to us, and then we'd start crying. I'm just joking. We wouldn't really, but we'd start crying. I'm crying now, Bruce Willis, will you hire me? Bruce Willis would start stuttering. He stutters a little bit in interviews. He gets nervous. All right. Anyway, I'll thank all my teachers later, but if you've ever been my teacher, thank you. Oh, my 2 mime teachers. Yeah, they got hard heads. Johnny Simons for teaching me mime mask and movement and posture and 00 and keeping straight, keeping my shoulders down at times and relaxing. And also the yoga that he taught. And Greg Goldston for being a great mime and talking about Marcel Marceau's stuff, and especially Etienne Ducreux, and teaching us to break down and isolate parts of the body. Very important. If you don't study miming or an actor, shame on you. Shame on you. You know who Greg taught? She taught Anne Hathaway. Yeah, he really did teach her that. You can tell a lot of models take it. Jessica Lange took mine, and and all the other people that inspired me. I'm also thankful to Adam the Woo for teaching me how to pick up one of these devices right here and just go at it, without all the rules and regulations. Now, another teacher, Bob Lavelle. Bob, I have to thank Bob Lavelle. He passed away too. He had his wake at the Actor Studio. Bob, I thank him for one important thing. Talking about Stella Adler a lot, but mostly I'm thankful to Bob about teaching an important thing, this Buddhist concept of making the art in the sand, drawing the art in the sand, and then erasing over it. I would never be able to do this show without learning that, even though Bob suggested that I don't do this. But I went against his suggestion and did it anyway. Thank you, Bob. Of course, Keitel, De Niro, and all those greats, those guys are the ones that have really developed the method acting and stuff like that, and just performance, even though sometimes I think people can get stuck in method, you know? And then, of course, Cooper for going off and becoming this Hollywood movie star, Bradley Cooper, I talk about him. It's important that someone go off and be that brave, you know? And thank you for your bravery. Even though you knew you were going to be ridiculed, but you did it anyway. Even though you cried like a little sissy right there being interviewed by Lipton, but that took some strength too, because we find our strength and weakness. So thank you for that. And then I don't even, you know, I don't want to leave on just Cooper, because I want to thank my parents too. My dad William, they call him Bill, he used to get me to perform in front of his friends when I was younger. He doesn't remember this, but his friends would either come over or they'd be on the phone, and he'd say, "Hey, Cole, make that weird Star Wars noise." That's what he would tell me. My dad was very strict. He was special intelligence in Army during Vietnam. He'd say, "Cole, make that weird Star Wars noise." He kind of abused me a little bit, but I forgive you for that, Dad. I know I have an issue, but I should always be forgiving. Maybe that's why you did it, so I'd learn to forgive, because life abuses you. So we learn to forgive. And thank you for teaching me about Jesus and learning to forgive. But you used to say, "Make that Star Wars noise, the laser noise." And I'd go beep, beep, and then you would laugh. So I'd make you laugh. So thank you for allowing me to make you laugh. Other than that, I've got a long journey to go because no one's watching our show right now. But don't worry, people will watch our show because I know there is a God. Now, I'm not going to vlog Hooters, but I am going to have to drop it off at your doorstep. So that's where I'm at.